Good day, Meticulous Moments audience. Thank you so much for joining us here yet for another interesting and very exhilarating session at the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And today we have the wonderful privilege of spending time with the amazing Michael Newman. He's a SAG-AFTRA actor, a retired private investigator, a pilot, and a U.S. Navy vet. And we would just like to thank you, Michael, for making time to be here on the show with us. We greatly appreciate it.
Well, it's great to be here because out of all the meticulous moments, this is the best meticulous moment that I've ever had.
Thank you so much, Michael. Now, you know, we haven't learned much about you in this session yet. I mean, you and I have spoken in Messenger. I've seen your Facebook and the projects that you've been working on. Audience, look at the wonderful promo video with all the beautiful photos and videos that Michael sent us. But tell us a little bit more about yourself. We would love to learn more about you.
Okay, well, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm sure you heard of it.
Yes.
Before. I am married, grew up in Brooklyn, went to school in Brooklyn. Then I went into the Navy after high school. I did some time there. When I did some time, it's not prison, but I did some time there. Then I ended up leaving New York. I met my wife 37 years ago. I think we're at 37 years or something like that. Yeah, about 38 years. She's going to kill me for not knowing the exact date, but and then we left New York and went to Kentucky, stayed there for a little while, the bluegrass of Kentucky, and then went to Florida. But all along that, I started, I was doing some, the beginning was, while I was in high school, I did some modeling. I took some, I used to work at a dude ranch, and I learned how to ride. That's where I started. But I was riding my whole life. My parents took me to riding when I was little. So I've always did riding, and that's why I like to do a lot of Westerns, and we'll talk about that after. But I did that, started taking some acting classes. I took some stage combat classes in New York and took some acting lessons. And then eventually, I had to work. I stayed in private investigation for this long. I'm almost over 38 years. And when I was doing that, it gave me a lot of free time to go and do the acting and modeling, whatever I wanted to do back then. Yeah. So was a lot of freedom to do that. But I loved what I was doing as a PI, because I worked in pretty much every aspect of private investigation. So what you see on TV, it's not exactly like that. When we don't constantly get hit in the head with gun butts all the time, But yeah. I used to watch, I don't know if you remember this TV show, you're not old enough to know it, but Mannix, like the Rockford Files, was Mike Connors was Mannix. And when I watched that when I was a little kid, and I think that was 1969 or whatever, that show started. And I said, oh my God, I want to be a private investigator from back then.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing it, I ended up being, I loved it. It was a great life. I loved it. And if I had to do it, I would do it all over again. I loved it. Well, I retired from, and then I like I said, I had a lot of great cases, a lot of good stories. Yeah. Worked on a lot of good investigations. You've probably heard of one of the most famous ones was the Lufthansa heist. Oh, wow. Which was back in the 70s. It was Kennedy, Lufthansa was hit. It was an inside job, and they robbed the most amount of money. I don't know, it was $6 million inside mob case. Yeah, it was very interesting. And the show, it became the heist became really famous from Goodfellas, because they mention it and they do it in the movie. So that's how a lot of people only. Since so much time went by, a lot of people never heard of it. But because of Goodfellas, the heist is back up again,
Yeah, they've breathed life.
Yeah, I did a lot of investigation, undercover work, and insurance investigation, fraud, locating people, background checks, a lot of criminal investigation work. Yeah, a lot of work recovering lost children and things like that. So It was great. So many things. Some people could specialize in a certain
Diverse.
part of private.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did everything. There were some things I turned away, but like you'll get investigators that say we strictly do surveillance work. But I just like getting my feet wet
Yeah.
in everything.
That's
That was
always
good.
interesting. Yeah, these cases that they take on, I love to watch these series with private investigators, and it's always there's always a plot twist. There's always something that's revealed that nobody expected. And I want to ask you, when you were doing the private investigation, what was one of the significant cases that you handled that had a kind of a plot twist? I mean, like nobody expected it, but someone was the culprit or something had transpired.
Okay. I'm gonna give you two cases, okay?
Okay,
One, I
please.
will start out with this one, then we'll go into the murder. There was this guy, he had his own auto mechanic shop, and he had a lot of expensive equipment. I guess he wasn't making a good living, or he just was greedy and wanted money. So he took the equipment, stuck it in a garage somewhere, and he claimed that he was broken in. The shop was broken in. Well, you have to be careful who you talk to, because one of his employees ratted on him, and the police couldn't do anything because they couldn't find the equipment. So I went undercover into the shop, got buddy with one of the employees who told me the whole story. I knew where the equipment was.
Yeah.
As a private investigator, I was able to go with the major case squad there, and this was in Ohio, in Cincinnati, and I had to go before the judge. I had to help take the warrant out. We went there, we got the equipment, but then we went over to the shop, and they just walked in with the warrant, and he actually had brought one of the pieces back into his shop.
Oh my
because
goodness.
It's been a few weeks. So he brings one of the pieces. And he brings one of the pieces in. So we had the serial number. So we walked right up to the machine. We knew it was there because the rat told us, the informant. Yeah. And we read the machine, and then they handcuffed him and took him out. The insurance company called me because it was like a $70,000 claim. Yeah. And they were so happy. They just couldn't believe the work that was done, So that was that. And then there was another case. This was a really good one, where this older man, he was, I don't know, maybe 70, 80, maybe 85. And he had a heart condition. Well, his wife had passed away. He ends up meeting this younger girl who she had a boyfriend who he didn't know about. And she was not giving him his medication. And he had a heart attack and died in the pool. And she was with him. She just left him there. No cameras at that time to see anything. But it turns out we ended up doing an investigation on it and finding out. And of course, there's always that one person that knows a lot of information, but either by accident, he'll tell you, or he'll want a few bucks. And you always get you offer a little bit of cash to somebody and they'll spill their beans.
Can you believe that? I can't believe that people
she got arrested.
To murder someone.
Yeah, there's so many stories. I mean, I would say we'd have to do a podcast for a series of podcasts.
We'll have to do that. That's a great idea. Meticulous investigation. I'm also like Michael Newman.
Yeah, you never know. It could be a good thing. And I'm also a private pilot as well.
Oh, yes, tell us about that.
Oh, yeah, you said that. Yeah. Well, I did some flying. I'm flying for a long time. A lot of times without a license, but it was okay because there were certain reasons I was able to do that.
Yeah.
But now, and I have friends who have planes, and a friend of mine who I lived in Citrus County, and he had a plane, and he was always flying, and he kept telling me, "Get your license, you fly my plane." So I finally went back and I got my license, and I love flying. There's nothing like it.
Imagine.
To go up in the sky. Yeah. It's so funny. I'll tell you this. So after I had my license, I used to go up maybe 3 times a week just to clear my head at work. I would just take my lunch hour, I'd go get the plane and go up. So my son, he's a filmmaker. He was a filmmaker, and he got hired. He was only 16 at the time, and he got hired to do something for the state of Florida. Yeah. So he wanted to do something really nice. So I said, "Well, Jesse, I'll take you up on the plane." And he had to film the lakes and tributaries and everything. So I took him up on the airplane, and while we're flying up there, he's like filming the lakes. He has the camera hanging out of the side of the plane, and he looks at me and he goes, "Dad, this is really great. We're up here without a pilot." I go, without a pilot? What am I doing here? And he says, you know what I mean, Dad, you know? So, because to him it was weird, you know what I mean? That his father's flying him around on the plane, you know? Yeah. So it was pretty funny. That was a funny memory that I have, you know? So
I
that's
love
that.
funny memory. Yeah.
And my wife is also a private investigator. She's had her license for over 20 years.
Wow,
So
that's so
we
cool.
occasionally we had worked as a team together, a team. Sometimes you need a pretty woman to suck people in and get the information, and she
Yeah.
was pretty good at that. We would have to sit at a bar, and she would come on to a guy, you know, and
Yeah.
they would tell, and they would just tell her anything, you know. But
My
she's good. She's
goodness,
also
yeah.
she actually is a GIA certified. She's a gemologist, diamonds, color stones. She had went to school. She used to be married to a Cincinnati Reds ball player, a baseball player,
Okay.
and she has an interesting life too. So maybe you'll have to have her on one day. You
I
know,
was just thinking the same
she-
thing. I mean, there's lots of projects
yeah.
coming to the fore here. I'm looking forward to those.
Yeah.
And I was looking on your, you know, we had the call with, and you told me about the private investigation piece. So I went on to your page, you know, to research, you know, the questions and everything. And I saw your post about Mannix. And I was like, what is Mannix?
Oh
What is
yeah.
Mannix? And then I read up, it said Joe Mannix was a LA detective in the series, and he became a private investigator. But your post, I loved your post because you had a mug with Mannix at your coffee machine, and you said you have
Yes.
coffee with Mannix every morning. I love that.
Every morning. Yeah, it was good. Also, then later on, after that came Rockford Files with James Garner, which was another great one, you know. And it's so funny because when he was doing the PI work, like occasionally he would go into a building and he'd give a business card to somebody. He would say, John Smith, you know, surveyor. And I used to make my own business cards because I had access to a printing press.
Yeah.
So you remember, it's not the same. You couldn't call Vistaprint and make cards. So I had cards made up. So whenever I went, and there was no verification on computers. Remember, we're going back 70s and 80s, you know.
Yeah.
So it was all tricks of the trades that you learn from other investigators. And the guy I started out working for, he was really good, and he's the one who got me working in the Lufthansa thing at the airport, Kennedy. But he was one of the best investigators I know. He's living in India now. He writes books, but I owe it all to him. Byron Bales is his name. Great guy. Anyway, so yeah. So let's see. Okay, so then you know, I took some stage class acting lessons and started getting into that, and it was just like, it was fun. It was just, I was having a great time, you know, because you get to, you know, and I still, like, as a PI, people will call me who are doing films and they would like me to do some consulting as a PI to make sure their show is correct, you know?
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
That's good to have that background knowledge. I think that's amazing. And I think, you know, having been in the private investigation world for so long, with your wife, it's something that will always intrigue you. It's something that you'll always come back to in some other form or way. You know, like people reaching out to you now, making sure that they have the details correct. And you sent, you know, with your acting, you sent videos. Tell us a little bit more about those videos, because I absolutely enjoyed them so much. Just tell the audience what they are about. These are the videos that were in the promo video audience. So let's hear what those projects were about. I know you were doing the gunsling, and then there was another one, was it Boca or Baca?
Brooklyn to Boca.
Yes.
Brooklyn to Boca.
So
yeah,
nice.
Boca Raton is the place in Florida.
Okay.
And, you know, retirees, and it's just, it's Italian, Jewish, it's everything, you know, but it's really retirees coming there. Like a lot of people from New York, they flock to Boca. So my friend, Sharon Pfeiffer, great actress. I love working. We work together often. She's so good. Have you seen her? We work very well together. We bounce and a lot of things because we just work well together. She created this along with another individual. And she's right now still working on it. Going to get it made. It's going to be great. I play Forget About It Frank, plays a little He always he doesn't ever says anything correctly. And which is like me in real life. My wife said, this is you, said Sharon, because, being from Brooklyn, we mispronounce words occasionally,
Yeah.
So, and it's like, so I kind of fit in right away to that with her. She's Italian. She has a good life, and she's just really meticulous when she does, when she wants to do a show or a scene, everything, she's great. You'll have to talk to her one day as well, and you've seen the video, the trailer.
Yeah, I saw
She's a
it.
character. She's a character. You want to have her on. You want to have her on. And then there was the Western thing. So my friend Les McDowell, he has a ranch or a movie set. It's more of a ranch movie set. It's a town.
Oh, wow.
It's in Parrish, Florida, close to Sarasota. And he used to do a show there called, Oh, he's going to kill me. I don't remember it. I have some memory. Well, anyway, he used to do a series there.
Yeah.
And people would want to film Westerns there. It's really a great little town. People use the set. So I got on there as a character. He called me and I got on as a character. And then ended up filming a few different shows there for movie. Yeah. And really the good one was, I was really excited because I got to do the Wild Bill Hickok movie, which I had opposite Marty Cove and Jeff Fahey, right up on the horses. We have that scene.
Yeah. Yes.
And then I grow this, and I get when I'm in my cowboy outfit, I just seem, and of course I don't have to speak from Brooklyn. I can talk like a cowboy if I need to.
You can.
So,
I heard that.
So, I do have a little bit of a look when I make it for that, and I like to do those. I love riding, and I just love doing, like, I can go from a gangster to a doctor to an attorney, to a cowboy, which is fun, diversity.
Very, very talented. Diverse and talented. And I really, when we spoke at the previous time when we had our messenger call to set up this interview, I really felt that you are very happy in what you do. You're so passionate about filmmaking. You're passionate about your family life. When you spoke about the private investigation, I could see that you really enjoy life. You get the most out of life. Now, let's talk about your life as an actor, the accents that you do, the roles that you play. What's your favorite part about doing a series or a film?
Well, when I first got in, I was just like, I watch television, you watch a movie, then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you're on a set with the legends that you work with, like Peter O'Toole. He was one of the best. I did My Favorite Year. I just played a businessman in there,
Yeah.
But it was great to see him, and Richard Benjamin directed it. I had so much fun doing that. I said, well, I got to keep going further and further along. I just kept getting things as it was going along. And what the great thing about Facebook is, you get networking with your friends, and someone's making you actually get more work than agents most of the time, because everybody's networking on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, because you do it, you see, So so when I started doing that, I get to spin my gun. The spinning of the gun, my father, when he was a kid, he had a 45, Western 45 BB gun.
Oh, BB gun.
So I remember playing with it. When I was playing with it, when I was a little kid, spinning it around. I always tried to play because I always watched the old Westerns, Gunsmoke and all the old things. So I started doing it, and occasionally I would drop the gun a bunch of times, but I ended up doing it, and I got it, and then I just started getting a lot better at it. And I actually now I practice with a prop gun, same weight as a regular gun, but I practice and I try all the spinning, two hands. It's a lot of work. We drop and you eventually. I'm not saying I'm great at it, but I'm good. I'm good at it. I like
You're
it.
definitely good at it, and it's not easy to do. I've tried that before. It's not easy.
It's not easy to do.
It goes all over the place.
I made the mistake one time. A friend of mine, we were on a set, my friend says, and I had my gun on me. And this is all before Alec Baldwin pulled the trigger. This has happened before. Well, I had my gun, no ammo in the gun. And it was checked by the prop master, everything. It never left my holster. And anytime we cut the scene, they would secure the gun. So we never had any problem with it. It was always declared empty. So I was spinning it, and then someone said to me on the set, can I try that? Can I spin it? And I, like an idiot, I gave them my gun. What did they do? They spin it and drop it. They couldn't. I said, never again will I let anybody spin my gun. So I put the kibosh on that. No more. You know. So
it's off limits, guys. Don't even ask.
Yeah.
So you've worked.
So also, you know, I took some stunt classes and learned how to do stage combat and some falls, and I've done staircase falls. We would do high falls. Yeah. And the good thing about it is, you know, when I get on a set, you know, you don't work like if you're going on like this one time I was going on only as an extra on a film, and then I ran into somebody I knew. He's a stunt coordinator, Jim Vickers, and he saw me and he pulled me into his stunt. So you went from extra pay to stunt pay, which was like 3 times as much, you know? So then after I started getting some more, you know, and just doing work. So it was good. You know, you never know what's going to happen. You know, we never know. You know, I mean, the people that are starting out are just like, everybody starts out somehow. Some people are lucky and they get right into, like Miles Teller is a friend of my son's. You know him from Whiplash and Top Gun. Yeah. Yes. Well, he went to school with my son. My son actually made 2 movies with Miles. Miles's first films, A Very Specific Recipe and Moonlighters. And Miles is like a fantastic. And my son saw it in Miles back in school, in high school days. He said, Miles is going to be so big. He told me this. My son saw this in Miles. And Miles was just like shot out of a cannon and went to Hollywood. And look at him now. He's a great actor and a good person, you know?
That's the great part. Yeah.
So my point was, some people, we all start out in acting, and not everybody gets that lucky, you know? So if you start out as, I just want to say for people who may be watching, who want to get into acting or are actors, work as an extra, because you get on a set. Once you get on a set, you never know whether the director will come and say, we need this guy to say one line. Walk over here and say, excuse me. One line. Bingo, you said something in a movie. Yeah. And that happens so many times. And you get featured, they'll pull you to do something. You get in the cab with the star and get it. And that, bingo, that's happened to me, you know? So things happen. It's really great, you know?
You never know.
So many people. Right. And in the meantime, one time I was a big fan of Jackie Mason, the comedian. You know him, Caddyshack 2, and he's done The Jerk with Steve Martin. He was a very famous comedian for 50 years. Yeah. So I went to a show one time with my wife to see him because he was doing some material. He was opening up a Broadway show, one-man show. So there was only 50 people there. It was in Tampa, and my wife and I, we both sat in the front, and I had a great seat. I was like, look. So right after the show, I wanted to say hello to him. I said, Jackie, I'm Michael Newman. I'm a private investigator. If you ever need a bodyguard, let me know. So he says, is this your wife? He says, is this your wife over here? I go, yeah. I go, she's not Jewish, but she has a diamond like a Jew, you know? Because he is so he said, yeah. He goes, as a matter of fact, I am looking for a bodyguard.
Oh, wow.
So he says, give me a number. I'll call you tomorrow. I said, yeah, okay. So the next day he called me and we had lunch. And then I met his wife, who went to New York. Yeah. And I started working with him. And 4 years later, I was with him. I was opening for him. I was doing 20 minutes in front of Jackie. You know,
those moments when that happens.
Wow. It's so funny because we were in Las Vegas at the Stardust Hotel, and I gave him this joke that my wife helped create. That, I don't know if you ever seen Jackie. He looks like a zombie, or he looks really like pale. So I gave him this joke that, that he would be a Dracula, like he's a Jewish vampire. Yeah. So, and I'm not going to do the whole joke, but he would do something like, the part of the joke went, I know Dracula couldn't be Jewish because no Jewish vampire will bite you in the neck. I'll bite you over here. I'll bite you here. I wouldn't drink all your blood. I'll come back tomorrow. We'll drink a little more blood, and, we'll go for a piece of cheesecake. But anyway, he did that joke, and then he did it on stage. He did it on stage, and it was so funny. So he comes backstage after the show. Now, I was only his road manager and bodyguard at the time. He comes backstage. He goes, that joke you wrote me was really funny. I said, you see, Jackie, I'm just as funny as you. He goes, if you're so funny, go out and do 3 minutes. I go, seriously? Do 3 minutes? He goes, your 3 minutes are not going to kill my 40-year career. Go ahead. So I ran up to my room, and I called my wife at home and I said, you're not going to believe this. Jackie said I can open for him,
Yeah.
in the show.
3 minutes
So
is a long time.
so she
That's
says,
a good space. Yeah.
yeah, he said I could do 3 minutes. So my wife says, well, what are you waiting for? You're a funny guy. I said, yeah, I know, but I'm an actor. I'm not really a comedian. So she says, listen, I seen your acting. What you are is a funny guy. So I said, okay, exactly, right. So I went out there and I did 3 minutes. I was horrified, because I never did it before. And I wrote some jokes. I called a friend of mine to help me, Bruce Smirnoff. He's a comedian here in Florida, great guy, funny as heck. And he helped me with some stuff. And I come off stage after the 3 minutes, and Jackie comes over to me and he says, tomorrow, do 5 minutes. He goes, you were really funny. They loved you. I was watching you. So I did 5 minutes the next day. And then he says, stay out there, do 7 to 10 minutes. Go ahead. As long as you're funny, it's okay. So I would run some joke. I was just writing all kinds of stuff and whatever, just funny joke. And it turned out, 15, 20 minutes in front of Jackie everywhere we went, all over the world. I was just opening for him. It was like crazy. And I got to meet some, and it led to, we just traveled. My travels with him were amazing. I mean, I could write a book on that.
That's a good idea.
I became friends with Howie Mandel because when we were in Vegas, I was seeing Howie every day, and Richie Thurber, his manager. We just had lunch all the time. We became Tony Curtis lived out there at the time. He's passed away now, rest his soul. He was a great guy. He used to tell me, don't call me Mr. Curtis. I'm Tony. We're friends now. Come to my house with Jackie. We're going to have dinner. The relationship I had with Tony Curtis, we used to speak on the phone all the time. Yeah. He was a great guy. He just loved to ask me questions, So it was a good guy. And there were so many people, so many. Roseanne Barr, I became friendly with because of Jackie, traveling with Jackie. I met everybody.
The places.
It was really
wow. And that's an adventure in itself. Making all these wonderful connections and building these friendships. I mean, that's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We performed in Beverly Hills, and Jackie said, you're going to be very shocked who comes to the show here because they all come to see him. So in the front row, when I went out, Rob Reiner, Lorraine Newman, David Mamet, Larry King, Leonard Nimoy. It was a who's who. I'm lucky I got through my first line. When I looked down, I went, oh my God, what is this? And then after, during the intermission, I would sell the merchandise in the lobby. So I would go and set up the merchandise. And Ed Begley Jr. came up to me and he says, you're really funny. I go, thank you. All these stars are walking around coming up to me. And I said, holy crap, Beverly Hills, they all come out to see Jackie, It was really crazy, it was fun.
Took that opportunity and you made the best of it, Michael. That's the thing, And your personality
to me,
as well. You're easy to talk. You're an open person. People loved it.
Yeah. I'm nice to everybody. I treat people the way I want to be treated. I treat workers like anybody's working, does a hard day's job. I like everybody. If you don't like me, too bad. I can still like you. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that just won't like you no matter what you do. They're just not going to like you. But I don't look at life that way. I like everybody. I'm telling you, I'm really good to everybody, and I want to be treated that way, so.
You get along with people and you do your best, to reach out and to communicate. And what I like about your communication style is you communicate effectively. You relate to people. And I think that's because you are such a wonderful actor, because you can relate to people on different, you can be the comedian, you can be the gunslinger, you can go to Boca and be that role, and that built your people skills, and that's a great attribute to have. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Just finished a small role in a new Christmas movie that'll be out soon called Dimming Lights. Preston Walden was the director. It was great to work with him. He was easygoing director. He gives you, he lets you loose a little bit on the leash there. And that one's coming. We've got a new one, another one coming up soon. I got 2 other ones. Really can't say much about them right now, but there'll be more on the horizon. It's good. I'm always looking at scripts, so it's good.
Yeah. You're always on the go. You always on the
Yeah,
go. I saw on your page there was something that I made a note of here. I made a note of a short Christmas film. I think you posted about a short Christmas film.
The what one? Say that again. I'm sorry. You got
There was a short Christmas film somewhere on your page that I saw. Some other filming that you
short.
are doing. Yeah. So I made a
Well,
note.
one Christmas one.
Yeah.
There was a short movie I did. I played an angel in that one. Yeah, that
Wow.
was a good. It's a short. It's a good one. It really was good. I enjoyed playing. Actually, I watched it
Yeah.
and it brought tears to my eyes.
Oh,
Not because of me. I'm saying
no, because of
because
the
the
song.
show. I just thought it was really good. It's a happy Christmas story. It really is good.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who watched it. It made him cry.
Oh,
So
I love those Christmas
really,
stories. They have to make it.
yeah, and I wish it was a feature because it would have been great. But he
Yeah.
made a short out of it. And there's other one coming up, this other Christmas one. Then John Vanis, is going to be doing a Christmas one.
My
You know
homie.
John. Yeah.
Shout
So
out to you, John. Thank
yeah,
you for making this connection.
yeah. Gotta have that shout out to John because I love John. He's a great guy.
He's amazing.
I love doing work with John.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. Your energies
Yeah,
match.
I can't
Like your
wait.
energy and John's energy, they match.
Oh no, he's
imagine
my energy's here. This is John up here. John's energy is he don't stop moving. He's hyper, man. But I love him. I worked with him a few times, and I'm telling you, me and him do great on set.
Yeah.
I know what he's all about. I know what's coming from John, So
Good guy.
he's a good guy. I love him.
John, you're good people, just like Michael. So thank you for that. I wanted to ask you, Michael, working all across the globe with all these amazing people and being the way that you are, always so open and friendly and kind and treating people with dignity, no matter, what role they play or where they are, what level they are. Tell me about the lessons that you've learned, the life lessons in acting or in your travels. What are some of the things that really stuck with you, that helped you as a person to make sense of the world, or that really just made an impact on you? Life lessons.
I have to tell you something. When I was growing up in Brooklyn, I wasn't a very nice person. I wasn't a great kid. I kind of was a semi-tough guy. I was in trouble, and later, and I'll tell you what, I just hard to break out of that. But
yeah,
the best thing that happened to me was meeting my wife.
Oh.
She wasn't from New York. She was from Ohio, and she was just a good person.
Yeah.
And because I was very bad, I wasn't, I was just not, I was doing bad things. But anyway, she helped me, I wasn't always bad. I did crazy things. New York is, Brooklyn, growing up there, I get the wrong crowd and that's it. And all my friends pretty much straightened out, most of them.
Yeah.
But it was because of her, I started seeing the good in people.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, everybody was rotten. We have bad people, and so we see what's going on.
Yeah,
but you have to give everybody a fair shake. Give everybody a fair shake. Look for the good in people, and if someone's on the wrong path, step in and help them. And I do that. I help somebody now who I take care of. And I help him. And I feel good when good things happen to him. And I just and I help a lot of people. There's not one person really out there that can say I'm a bad person, and I just like to do good for everybody. That's it. That's the only thing I can say about all that. I've traveled, I've been all around the world, and I'm nice to everybody. I remember going to Paris for the first time, someone said, "Oh, they hate Americans. They hate Americans." You know what? If you go there and disrespect their culture and you don't even attempt to speak a word of French, nobody's going to talk to you, So my wife, she always learned a little French, and I always try to, even though I could screw up the English language. I'm not going to do very well in France, but I never had a problem. People that actually would take us to a subway stop or get us a cab. We never had anybody who didn't help us. It was nice. So you have to have a positive, that's another thing, a positive outlook to everything. Be positive. It's going to work out. Never say this is going to happen to me. A bad disease, even though things happen, you fall apart as you get older, but still say, that's not going to happen to me. Or if you do have something, I'm going to beat this. I'm going to get better and I'm going to beat it. It's just like you hear people tell you all the time, this is not going to bring me down. I'm going to get over it. If I'm not making enough money, I'm going to make money. If I'm sick, I'm going to get better. I'm going to be the good person. If I'm having trouble with my family and I don't like me, I'm going to do my best to make it better. Just always be positive. Yeah. There's no reason to be opposite. When things are looking bad, you can lose your job, you could lose your house, but you got to look, there is something over the horizon. Things will get better. There's people going through depression, and I understand that. I mean, I dealt with depression. So, and you know what? You just have to realize and get help. Speak to a friend. Call. I give my phone number out on Facebook to people if they want to talk. I'm always there for everybody.
Yes.
That's me.
Beautiful. That's the truth, and that's very, very good advice to the audience. Good vibes only. Be positive. Share that positive.
And I mean it too. Take it.
Yeah.
I live by those words.
And that's why you're unstoppable, Michael, because you have those good vibes. You send out that energy, and when you have that, you're really unstoppable. The sky's the limit of what you can do. You can do whatever you want to do if you just believe it. And Michael believes it, and I know John believes it, because he and I also talk about positive energy. So now I know why you guys connect so well. You have the right energy.
And you're good. You're good. You. Because I could do that too. I could do it De Niro. Hey, you.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to ask you, as we talk about your life and your journey, is there anything that you want to share, maybe words of wisdom with the audience? Also, shout out to Mrs. Newman. Thank you so much for letting us spend time with your wonderful, wonderful husband. We know that she's been in the private investigation space, and we've learned so much about her. You guys are a beautiful couple. I saw the photos. Would you like to leave the audience with any final words of wisdom, anything that you want to just share and impart in their lives?
It's probably something they've all heard before. Live your dreams. Live your dreams and go shoot. Climb the ladder to success. You could always come down when you feel like it, but just keep climbing. Just keep climbing. Nothing is out of reach if you believe it.
That's true. Keep climbing. I agree with Michael. I agree. Keep climbing, guys. Reach for those dreams. Thank you so much, Michael, for making the time. This was a wonderful time in your presence, in your energy, learning from you. And we appreciate you. Keep shining your light out there and being just someone amazing out there that's uplifting society and helping people. We appreciate you dearly. Thank you so much.
You're the best. I love you.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.